The worst part wasn't watching my husband cry crocodile tears on the witness stand. It wasn't even seeing my mother-in-law Phoebe's Oscar-worthy performance as she dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief and told the judge what an unstable gold digger I was. No, the worst part was knowing they'd planned every second of it. I'm Edith, and 6 months ago, I lost everything I'd spent 15 years building. My marriage, my home, my reputation, all gone because I made the fatal mistake of believing family meant something to the Lawsons. "All, rise," the bailiff called out. I stood on shaky legs, my designer suit, the last one I'd ever buy with our joint account, feeling like armour that was quickly crumbling. "Your Honour," Wilson's attorney drawled, "Mrs. Lawson's erratic behaviour has been well documented. The restraining order request—" "Objection," my lawyer jumped up. "There was never any evidence." "Sustained," the judge sighed, but the damage was done. They'd planted the seed. I watched Wilson squeeze Charlotte's hand in the gallery. My husband's former assistant, now lover, looked appropriately demure in her conservative blue dress. The same dress I'd helped her pick out for the company Christmas party last year. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Mum," Wilson had said earlier, hugging Phoebe outside the courtroom. "You were perfect." "Anything for my boy?" she'd replied, not knowing I was around the corner, my phone's voice memo app still running from when I'd used it to record the morning's proceedings. That recording. The one I'd accidentally left running 3 weeks ago when I'd set my phone down in Wilson's study while collecting my things. The one that captured him and Phoebe rehearsing their testimony, laughing about how easy it would be to paint me as unstable. "Just cry a little, Mum," Wilson had said. "The judge eats that stuff up. No one ever suspects the grieving mother-in-law." I didn't reveal the recording then, didn't scream or rage or expose them. Instead, I went home, correction, to what used to be my home, and packed my life into boxes. "Need help?" Alea asked, showing up with wine and packing tape. My best friend since college had that look in her eyes, the one that said she was ready to commit a felony on my behalf. "Just help me pack the crystal," I said, carefully wrapping each piece, the ones that were wedding gifts from Wilson's society friends. "You're being eerily calm about this," she noted, studying my face. I smiled, picking up a crystal champagne flute. "Did you know these are perfect for toasts, special occasions, engagement parties?" "Edith," Alia's voice held a warning. "I'm fine," I said, wrapping the glass with extra care. Just thinking ahead. That night, after Alea left, I sat cross-legged on the floor of my soon-to-be-former bedroom. The recording played softly from my phone, Wilson and Phoebe's voices filling the space with their casual cruelty. "She'll never see it coming," Phoebe had laughed. "Poor, trusting Edith. Always thought she was part of the family." I opened my laptop and created a new folder. Engagement party. Then I transferred the recording, made 3 backup copies, and sent one to my secure cloud storage. The last box I packed contained photos. Wilson and me on our wedding day. Family Christmases at Phoebe's estate. Vacation snapshots where we looked deliriously happy. I selected one. Wilson and Phoebe at last year's charity gala, both wearing their practiced public smiles, and took it out to the garden. The flame from my lighter caught the corner of the photo quickly. I watched their faces curl and blacken in the heat. "See you at the engagement party," I whispered, letting the ashes fall into the rose bushes I'd tended for 15 years. My phone buzzed. A text from Wilson. "Keys on the counter by 9 a.m. tomorrow." "Don't make this difficult," I typed back. "Of course not. I've learned so much from you both about playing nice." Then I blocked his number, poured myself a glass of his precious wine, and started planning. Because while they'd taken everything from me in that courtroom, they'd forgotten one crucial detail. I was a corporate strategist for 15 years. Planning complex long-term strategies was literally my job, and I had nothing but time. "You've got mail," Alea sang, waving a cream-coloured envelope in front of my face. "Looks fancy. Very engagement party-ish." 1 year had passed since the divorce. I traded our sprawling suburban mansion for a modest condo downtown, where I ran my freelance consulting business. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but I was breathing again. "Open it," I said, not looking up from my laptop. I already knew what it was. Alea ripped open the envelope with dramatic flair. "Mr. Wilson Lawson and Miss Charlotte Patterson request the pleasure of your company." Holy shit, they actually invited you. Phoebe's idea, probably. I took a sip of coffee. She loves an audience. "You're not actually going, are you?" Alea perched on my desk, blocking my screen. "Because that would be insane. Or brilliant. I can't decide which." Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Sandra, my former neighbour. "Did you try to blackmail Wilson after the divorce?" "Phoebe's telling everyone at the country club." I showed Alea the message. Her eyes narrowed. "That manipulative witch. She's trying to get ahead of something." "But what?" I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a USB drive. "Remember that recording? The one where they basically admitted to perjury? Yeah, but it was kind of muffled." "Not anymore." I plugged in the drive and played the enhanced audio file. Wilson's voice crystal clear. "Mum, just tell them Edith was unstable. Say you found pills. Noticed erratic behaviour. We need something that'll stick." Phoebe's response. "Don't worry, darling. I've ruined better women than her. By the time I'm done testifying, she'll be lucky to keep her professional licenses." Alea's jaw dropped. "How did you—" "I have a client who specialises in audio enhancement. Took him 3 months, but he cleaned up every second." I paused the playback. "There's 45 minutes of them planning their court strategy. Every lie, every fake tear, all of it. Edith!" Alea grabbed my hands. "This changes everything. We need to call your lawyer." "Already did. The statute of limitations for perjury is still open, but proving it would be messy. Besides," I smiled, I have a better idea." My phone buzzed again. This time it was Derek, a client I'd met at a networking event last month. "Still on for coffee tomorrow?" "Who's that?" Ellie appeared at my screen. "Just a client. He's going through his own divorce drama. A hot client. I've seen his LinkedIn." She waggled her eyebrows. "And he's definitely interested in more than your consulting services." "Focus, Alea. We have work to do." We spent the next hour planning. Alea, being the tech wizard she is, helped me create different versions of the audio file. One for social media, one for legal purposes, and one specifically edited for maximum impact at a certain upcoming party. "There's something else," I said, pulling up a folder on my laptop. "Look what I found on Charlotte's sister's Instagram before it was deleted." The post showed Charlotte at a wedding 3 years ago. The caption read, "My sister, always the assistant, never the bride, unless she steals someone else's husband for the payout. Just saying. Judicial drama." "Wait," Alla leaned closer. "This was posted before you even knew about the affair?" "Apparently, I wasn't Wilson's first married boss." I closed the laptop. "Charlotte's got quite a history of climbing the corporate ladder horizontally. So, what's the plan?" I picked up the invitation, running my finger over the embossed letters. "First, we send Charlotte an anonymous email with just enough of the recording to make her nervous. Then, we wait. For what? For her to realise she's not as secure as she thinks. Wilson traded in one wife for a younger model. What happens when an even younger assistant catches his eye? Alea's phone chimed with a notification. She read it, and her eyes widened. Speaking of karma, you know that rumour Phoebe's spreading about you blackmailing Wilson? Someone just posted on the country club's private Facebook group defending you. Says they were there when Wilson bragged about setting you up in court. I smiled, remembering Wilson's favourite saying, "Image is everything in our circle, darling. One crack in the facade and it all comes tumbling down." Well, I picked up my coffee cup. Let's give them something to really talk about. The invitation sat on my desk, innocent and elegant. In 6 weeks, Wilson and Charlotte would host the engagement party of the season. Everyone who mattered would be there, including me. "You do realise revenge won't fix anything," Derek said, stirring his coffee. We sat in a quiet corner of the bistro where we'd been meeting weekly since that first networking event. "Trust me, I tried it after my ex left." "This isn't about fixing," I replied. "It's about truth." He leaned back, studying me with those thoughtful brown eyes that seemed to see right through my carefully constructed walls. "Is it? Or is it about pain?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Juan Cooper, the legal fixer I'd hired. "Meet in 20 minutes. Bring the recording." "I have to go," I stood gathering my things. "Client, meeting." "Edith," Derek caught my hand. "Just be careful. Sometimes when you're fighting monsters, you become one." I squeezed his hand before letting go. Maybe some monsters deserve each other. Juan's office was all glass and chrome, fitting for someone who specialised in making ugly truths look presentable.
He played the enhanced recording again, making notes. "Legally, it's complicated," he said, removing his glasses. "But socially? This is nuclear, especially the part where your mother-in-law admits to doing this before. Can they sue me if I play it publicly? They can try, but here's the beautiful part. Discovery works both ways. They'd have to prove the recording is fake, which means explaining what they were really saying." He smiled.
"And I don't think they want that conversation." My phone chimed with an alumni newsletter notification. There was Phoebe, front and centre at a charity luncheon, presenting a check with her practiced camera smile. "Speaking of social warfare," I showed Juan the photo. "Watch this." I opened my email and composed a quick message to the alumni board. "Lovely event. Quick correction. The foundation Phoebe mentioned in her speech was actually dissolved last year for tax irregularities. Wouldn't want any confusion? Best, Edith?" "Subtle." Juan nodded approvingly. "How long before she sees it?" The board always forwards donor concerns directly. "I'd say now." Right on cue, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Stop poking the bear, Edith. You lost. Move on." Wilson's new number, I explained to Juan. "He changes it monthly now. Wonder why?" "Because you're making him nervous." Juan handed me a folder. "Speaking of nervous, look what my team found about Charlotte's sudden promotion after your divorce." The documents showed a suspicious pattern of property transfers. Condos, vacation homes, all purchased through shell companies right after Wilson took control of the company. Assets, he claimed, didn't exist during your settlement, Juan noted. "Send copies to the SEC anonymous tip line," I said. "Let's add some external pressure." Walking home, I passed the country club where Wilson and I had spent countless Sundays playing the perfect couple. Through the gates, I spotted Phoebe holding court with her usual crowd of socialites. "Edith!" a voice called out. It was Margaret, one of the few club members who'd stayed neutral during the divorce. "We've missed you at book club." "Been busy," I smiled, "but I heard about the engagement party. Should be quite an event." "Oh, you're going?" Her eyes widened. "That's brave." Why not? Water under the bridge. I adjusted my sunglasses. Besides, I love a good toast. Margaret's phone buzzed, probably the club's gossip group chat, exploding with my comment. Perfect. Back home, I found Alea waiting with takeout and a wicked grin. Check your email. Charlotte's sister just sent us something interesting. The email contained years of text messages between Charlotte and Wilson, dating back to when I was still blissfully ignorant. But it was the recent ones that caught my eye. Look at this, Alia pointed to a message from last week. Charlotte asking about prenup terms. She's getting scared. Good. I opened my laptop and pulled up the audio file. Time for phase 2. You sure about this? Alia asked. Once we send this, there's no going back. I thought about Derek's warning about becoming monsters, about Wilson's threat in court. No one will believe you if you go public. We've already painted you in court. Then I thought about Phoebe's tearful performance, Charlotte's innocent act, and 15 years of my life reduced to lies under oath. Send it, I said. Let's see how well their perfect little engagement holds up under pressure. Alia hit send, and we watched as the anonymous email with 10 seconds of damning audio disappeared into Charlotte's inbox. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about becoming a monster. It's about showing people who the real monsters were all along. The first crack appeared at the charity gala 3 weeks before the engagement party. I wasn't there, but Margaret's play-by-play texts told me everything. Charlotte just snapped at Wilson in front of everyone, her message read. Something about property documents? She stormed off to the bathroom. I smiled, remembering the anonymous email I'd sent Charlotte yesterday, containing Wilson's hidden real estate dealings, the ones he'd concealed during our divorce, now conveniently placed in his new fiancé's name. Keep watching, I texted back. 10 minutes later. OMG. Phoebe tried to smooth things over, but Charlotte straight up ignored her. Wilson looks pissed. My phone buzzed with another message, this one from an anonymous account. I got your little audio gift. What do you want? Hello, Charlotte, I typed back. Interesting how history repeats itself, isn't it? First, the married boss in Seattle, then Wilson. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. How do you know about Seattle? Your sister's quite chatty when she's angry, especially about your pattern with married executives. No response. I waited 5 minutes, then sent. Wonder what Wilson would think about your previous career moves. Don't drag me down with you, came the quick reply. I'm not the one who lied in court. I laughed out loud. No, you just help them do it. Check your email again. I'd attached a clip of Charlotte's voice from 6 months ago, coaching Phoebe on her testimony. Just tell them she was jealous and unstable, Charlotte had said. It worked in my last situation. My phone rang. Alia. Turn on the local news website now. The headline made me sit up straight. Tech CEO Wilson Lawson under investigation for financial irregularities. The SEC tip worked, Alia said. They're looking into those property transfers. How's the happy couple handling it? According to my source at their company, Charlotte hasn't spoken to Wilson all day. She's been in closed-door meetings with legal. I opened my laptop and pulled up Charlotte's sister's Instagram. Her latest post was a throwback photo from 3 years ago. Remember when life was simple? Before certain people showed their true colours? Shakama, Jangra, what goes around? The doorbell rang. I opened it to find Derek holding coffee and looking concerned. Saw the news, he said, stepping inside. You okay? Why wouldn't I be? Because this is getting bigger than revenge, Edith. There are investigations, legal implications. Good. I took the coffee. Let them feel what it's like when everything falls apart. And what about you? What happens after you burn it all down? Before I could answer, my phone chimed with a notification from the Neighbourhood Watch app. Someone had posted about raised voices coming from Wilson's house. I have to go, I told Derek. Strategy meeting with Juan. He caught my arm. Just tell me you have an end game, that this isn't just about pain. It's about truth, I said, echoing our earlier conversation. Sometimes truth hurts. At Juan's office, we reviewed the latest developments. Charlotte's lawyer reached out, he said. She wants to make a deal. No deals. Edith, they didn't offer me any deals when they destroyed my life. I stood up pacing. They didn't show mercy when Phoebe lied on that stand. My phone buzzed again. A message from a blocked number. Whatever you're planning for the engagement party, don't. You'll only embarrass yourself. W. I showed Juan the message. See? Still threatening. Still trying to control the narrative. Which means they're scared, Juan noted. Use that. Later that night, I sat on my balcony, scrolling through social media. Charlotte had untagged herself from all photos with Wilson. Phoebe's charity foundation page was flooded with questions about financial transparency. Wilson's company stock had dropped 12%. A new message popped up from Charlotte. I didn't know about the court lies at first. By the time I figured it out, save it for the party, I replied. Please, I'll tell you everything. Just don't play that recording. I thought about Wilson's words in court. Edith's always been good at manipulating situations to her advantage. Well, he wasn't wrong about that. 3 weeks, I typed back to Charlotte. Plenty of time to decide whose side you're really on. The pieces were falling into place. Soon, they'd learn what I'd known all along. The truth doesn't stay buried forever, and karma comes with receipts. A restraining order? Alea nearly spat out her wine. Phoebe filed a restraining order against you? Now. I handed her the legal document that had been delivered an hour ago, 3 days before the engagement party, and suddenly I was a threat to the family's safety. She's getting desperate, Juan said over speakerphone. But this is sloppy. We can use it. How? I paced my living room, the cream-coloured engagement party invitation mocking me from the coffee table. Because we have months of evidence showing zero contact. No threats, no approaches, nothing. This looks like harassment on their part, not yours. My doorbell rang. Derek stood there looking worried. Heard about the restraining order. You okay? Come help us plot, Alea called out, waving him in. Actually, he said, I came to ask if this is worth it. The party's in 3 days. You could just let it go. The room fell silent. Even Juan stopped shuffling papers on the other end of the phone. Let me show you something, I said, pulling up a video on my laptop. It was security footage from my old house, the day I moved out. Wilson and Phoebe stood in the driveway, laughing. Poor, pathetic Edith, Phoebe had said. Did you see her face when I cried on the stand? Priceless. Always too trusting, Wilson added. That's why she was so easy to set up. I closed the laptop. Still think I should let it go? Derek sat down heavily. Play it. Play it all. My phone buzzed. Charlotte. Wilson's losing it. He knows you have something planned. He's talking about hiring security for the party. Good, I typed back. More witnesses. Alea pulled up the audio-visual presentation we'd prepared.
Final run-through? The screen filled with photos. Wilson and Phoebe at court, their practiced sad expressions. Charlotte's quick promotion after my divorce, property documents, bank transfers, and running beneath it all, their own voices plotting my destruction. It's ready, Alea said. But we need backup plans. They'll try to cut the power. Stop the presentation. Already handled, Juan interrupted. I have 3 people from my team attending as guests.
Each with separate copies and equipment. Another text from Charlotte. Phoebe's calling all her society friends, trying to get them to boycott the party. Too late, Alea smirked, checking social media. Everyone's already confirmed. Nobody wants to miss what they think is just drama about a called-off engagement. They have no idea, I murmured. My phone rang. Wilson's latest number. Everyone froze. Put it on speaker, Juan instructed. Hello, Wilson? Enough games. His voice was tight, controlled. Don't show up and embarrass yourself. You've already lost? Funny, I replied. That's what you said in court, right before you and your mother committed perjury. Silence. Then, you can't prove anything. 3 days, Wilson. Give Charlotte my best. I hung up. Derek was staring at me with an unreadable expression. What? I asked. I've never heard you sound so cold. They taught me well. I walked to my closet and pulled out a garment bag. Inside was a black designer dress. Elegant, expensive, perfect for destroying someone's engagement party. The restraining order, Juan said. I'll have it dismissed tomorrow morning. Judge Thompson owes me a favour, and the filing was riddled with procedural errors. Phoebe's getting sloppy, Alea noted. She used to be better at this. She's scared, I said, hanging the dress carefully. They all are. My phone lit up with another message, this time from Margaret. Phoebe's at the club, crying to anyone who'll listen about how you're trying to ruin her son's happiness. Again. Perfect, I replied. Keep me posted. Derek stood up. I should go. But Edith? He paused at the door. Whatever happens, I'm here. After everyone left, I stood in front of my mirror, holding the black dress against me. In 3 days, I'd walk into that party looking flawless, controlled, unbreakable. My phone buzzed one last time. Charlotte again. I saved everything. All the emails, the transfers, the conversations. When you play that recording, I won't stop you. I smiled at my reflection. Game on. They thought they'd written the ending to this story in that courtroom. They were wrong. The real ending was always going to be written in black designer dress, crystal champagne flutes, and the sweet sound of truth playing through premium speakers. 3 days to go. The engagement party venue was exactly what you'd expect. A restored mansion with manicured gardens and champagne fountains. I watched from my car as Wilson greeted guests at the entrance, playing the perfect host. Charlotte stood beside him, her smile just a bit too tight. Ready? Alea asked from the driver's seat. Born ready. I checked my lipstick one last time. The black dress fit perfectly, my hair and makeup flawless. Looking like you're fine is the best revenge. Teams in position, Juan texted. Sound system checked. Backup plans A through C ready. I stepped out of the car, feeling every eye turn toward me. The whispers started immediately. She actually came. Can you believe the nerve? Did you hear about the restraining order? Phoebe spotted me first. The colour drained from her face as I walked past, giving her my sweetest smile. Lovely party, Mom. Wilson intercepted me before I could enter. You shouldn't be here. But I was invited. I held up the cream-coloured invitation. See? Or did Charlotte send this without telling you? Charlotte's head snapped up at that, her eyes meeting mine. The slight nod was imperceptible to anyone else. Inside, the party was in full swing.
Crystal glasses clinked, fake laughter echoed, and everyone pretended not to stare at me. Margaret appeared at my elbow with champagne. You look amazing, she whispered, Phoebe's been drinking steadily since you arrived. Good. I took a sip. She'll need it. The evening progressed exactly as planned. I moved through the crowd, speaking softly to key players. To Wilson's business partner. Interesting SEC investigation, isn't it? To Phoebe's charity board member. Those financial records must be concerning. To Charlotte's sister. Remember that wedding in Seattle? Small cracks appeared in the perfect facade. Wilson kept checking his phone nervously. Charlotte barely touched her food. Phoebe's hands shook as she grabbed another drink. Time for toasts, the event coordinator announced. Wilson stood, raising his glass. Charlotte and I want to thank everyone. Actually, I interrupted, standing. I'd like to say something first. The room fell silent. Phoebe started to object, but Charlotte, surprisingly, cut her off. Let her speak. I walked to the small stage where the string quartet had been playing. A toast to love, I said, my voice carrying clearly through the room, to loyalty, and to all the lies we tell in their name. Wilson started forward. Edith, don't... It's funny, I continued, pulling out my phone. How technology catches the most interesting moments. I pressed play. The sound system, carefully hijacked by Juan's team, carried the audio perfectly. Wilson's voice filled the room. Just cry on the stand, Mom. Call her unstable. Phoebe's laughter. I've ruined better women than her. By the time I'm done testifying. Charlotte dropped her champagne glass. It shattered on the marble floor, but no one moved to clean it up. They were all too busy listening. Turn it off! Wilson shouted, but his voice was drowned out by his own recorded confession about hiding assets, about planning the testimony, about everything. Phones appeared everywhere, recording the moment. Phoebe tried to play victim again, dabbing at her eyes, but people were stepping away from her. Security! Wilson called out. They're busy, I smiled. Something about an anonymous tip about serving alcohol to minors. They're tied up at the front gate. Charlotte suddenly stood up. It's all true, she announced, her voice shaking. Everything she's playing. I have proof too. Wilson turned on her, betrayal written across his face. What did you do? The same thing you did to her, Charlotte gestured to me. Only I was smarter about keeping records. The audio continued playing. People were leaving now, whispering furiously into phones. I saw at least 3 reporters in the crowd. Juan's work, no doubt. You've ruined everything, Phoebe hissed, grabbing my arm. I pulled free easily. No, you did that yourself. I just pressed play. As I walked out, head high, I heard Wilson's desperate voice. Charlotte, wait. But she was already gone, her engagement ring left glittering on the champagne table. Outside, Derek waited by his car. Need a getaway driver? Actually, I smiled, I think I'll stay a bit longer. The night's still young, and I hear there's quite a story breaking on social media. My phone buzzed with a message from Juan. Recording trending? Press asking for comments. Phase 2? Yes, I typed back. Release everything. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served with champagne, crystal glasses, and a perfectly timed press release. The aftermath hit like a tsunami. Within hours, Jor Lawson Lies was trending. Local news vans circled the mansion like sharks, their lights cutting through the darkness as shell-shocked guests fled the scene. Turn on Channel 5, Alea texted. They're interviewing Charlotte's sister. I sat in Derek's car, watching on my phone as Charlotte's sister spilled everything. This wasn't the first time, she told the reporter. Seattle, Miami. She had a pattern with married executives. But Wilson, he orchestrated the whole thing. You okay? Derek asked softly. Before I could answer, Juan called. Phoebe just got served. Perjury charges. The DA's been sitting on this case for months, waiting for public pressure. Through the mansion's windows, I could see Wilson arguing violently with his lawyer. Phoebe sat alone in a corner, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. Real ones this time. My phone exploded with notifications. Wilson Lawson steps down as CEO pending investigation. Society matriarch faces criminal charges. Tech company board calls emergency meeting. Ms. Lawson. A reporter spotted me in the car. Can we get a statement? I rolled down the window. The truth speaks for itself. Check your inbox in 10 minutes. Right on cue, Juan's team released the full dossier to selected media outlets. Emails, bank records, property transfers, and of course, the complete audio recording. Edith. Charlotte's voice made me turn. She stood there, mascara stained and clutching her designer purse. Can we talk? I got out of the car. Derek squeezed my hand before I walked away. I saved everything, Charlotte said, pulling out a USB drive. Every email, every conversation about the court case. Wilson. He's been doing this for years. Not just to you. Why now? Because I found the prenup he wanted me to sign. It was identical to yours, down to the infidelity clause he planned to trigger. She laughed bitterly. I was just next in line. My phone buzzed again. Margaret. Phoebe's being escorted out by police. Something about evidence tampering? They're asking about the Charity Foundation records, Charlotte added. Wilson used it to hide money. I have those documents too. Suddenly Wilson's voice boomed across the parking lot. You vindictive bitch! He stormed toward us, face contorted with rage. Derek stepped between us instantly. Back off, Derek warned. There are cameras everywhere. You think this is over? Wilson snarled at me. I'll sue you for defamation. You'll what? I pulled out my phone, still recording. Lie under oath again? Police lights flashed at the entrance. 2 officers approached Wilson. Sir, we need you to come with us. There are some questions about financial discrepancies. I watched them lead him away, his threats fading into the night. Phoebe was already in another police car, her social status useless against hard evidence. Charlotte handed me the USB drive. There's more. So much more. Use it however you want. Why didn't you come forward sooner? Fear, then shame, then... She shrugged. I thought I could play his game better than you did. I was wrong. News helicopters circled overhead. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from reporters, old friends, even Wilson's business associates wanting to clarify some things. Juan appeared beside me. DA wants to meet tomorrow. Your testimony could seal the perjury case. Book it. Edith? Charlotte called as she walked away. I'm sorry. For everything. I didn't respond. Some apologies come too late. Derek drove me home in silence. Outside my condo, he finally spoke. Was it worth it? I showed him my phone. Wilson's company stock had plummeted. Phoebe's charity foundation was under investigation. The country club had called an emergency board meeting to discuss memberships. Their entire world is collapsing, he noted. Just like mine did. I stepped out of the car. Only this time, it's built on truth, not lies. My phone lit up one last time, a message from Wilson's number. I underestimated you. No, I typed back. You overestimated yourself. Then I blocked his number for the final time and walked inside, leaving the chaos behind. Tomorrow would bring investigations, interviews, and endless questions. But tonight? Tonight, I would sleep soundly, knowing that sometimes justice doesn't need a courtroom. Sometimes it just needs the truth, a good sound system, and the perfect black dress. And that's why recording laws matter in divorce cases, I concluded, stepping away from the podium. The audience of law students and domestic violence advocates erupted in applause. "Thank you, Ms. Lawson," the moderator said. "Your case has already changed how our state handles testimony verification in family court." After the lecture, Alea met me in the lobby. "Killed it as usual. Ready for lunch?" "Actually," I checked my phone. "Juan needs me to sign some final paperwork. The settlement's done." At Juan's office, he spread the documents across his desk. Wilson took the deal. No trial, full admission of asset concealment and perjury conspiracy. And Phoebe, serving 6 months for perjury, plus community service. Her society friends abandoned her pretty quickly after the Charity Foundation audit revealed where their donations really went. I signed where indicated, each signature feeling like another weightlifting. Charlotte? Turned state's evidence. She's working with the SEC on other cases. Juan smiled. Apparently, Wilson wasn't the only CEO with creative accounting habits. My phone buzzed. A news alert about Wilson's company appointing a new CEO. The stock had never recovered after everything came out. "You know what's funny?" I said, signing the last page. They thought they were so clever, using the court system against me. But in the end... "The truth had receipts," Alea finished. Outside, Derek waited by his car. We'd been taking things slow, both of us still healing from our respective divorces. But slow felt right. "Lunch?" he asked. "Actually, there's somewhere I want to go first." We drove to my old neighborhood. The mansion where I'd lived with Wilson had a sold sign out front. Through the windows, I could see new owners moving in. A young family. Kids running across the lawn. "Weird seeing it?" Derek asked. "No," I realized. "It's just a house." My phone rang. Margaret. "You won't believe who I just saw at the grocery store. Phoebe pushing her own cart. No driver, no designer clothes. She tried to use her country club member discount, but..." Let me guess. Membership revoked? Along with half her social circle. Turns out Karma takes reservations. Back in my condo, I opened my laptop to find an email from Charlotte. "Thought you should know. Wilson's trying to date his new assistant. Some people never learn. P.S. I'm writing a book." "Good for her," Alea said, reading over my shoulder. "Speaking of books, have you thought about one suggestion? About turning your lecture series into one?" "Maybe." I closed the laptop. "But first, I need to do something." I pulled out the box I'd kept all this time. Inside were the last photos from my marriage, the ones I hadn't burned that night after court. Wilson and Phoebe's smiling faces looked up at me, frozen in their moment of perceived victory. "Want to do the honors?" I handed Alea a marker. She wrote across Wilson's face, "Karma's favorite customer." We laughed, but it felt different now. Lighter. The kind of laughter that comes after healing, not during revenge. "You know what I realized?" I said, tossing the photos in the recycling. "They didn't just lose money or status. They lost their power to hurt anyone else." My phone chimed with a message from Juan. "Women's Legal Defense Fund wants you on their board." "Interested?" "Do it," Derek encouraged. "Help other people fight back." I thought about all the other Ediths out there, facing their own Wilsons and Phoebes, thinking they were powerless against a rigged system. "Tell them yes," I typed back. Alea raised her coffee cup. "To Karma?" "No," I smiled. "To truth, and to everyone brave enough to speak it." Later that evening, Derek and I walked along the beach. No grand plans, no revenge schemes, just the sound of waves and honest conversation. "Do you regret any of it?" he asked. "Not the exposure," I said, But maybe I regret how long I let their lies define me. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. You won? Happy now? W? I showed Derek the message and typed back. I didn't win, Wilson. The truth did. Blocking you again. Goodbye. Then I turned off my phone and took Derek's hand. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors no filter could enhance, no lie could improve. Sometimes the happiest endings aren't about winning or losing. They're about standing in your truth, come what may, and letting karma handle the rest.